So my sump pump was constantly running. It was not turning off. So there could be a couple things wrong with it. The switch could be malfunctioning. The check valves, okay, which let the water push up and out, they could be defective where the water is draining back down, and then there's just an endless cycle of water constantly flowing through here. Or it could just be my pump. It could be burnt out, and the water is just constantly trying to pump out, and then it's sucking air in, and it's overheating the motor. The water that runs through the pipes, it's used to cool the motor, and if it was sucking air too long or running constantly, then it's going to burn up. So I checked it, the switch looks good, everything seems to be functioning, although it's not working, it's staying on. I used a 5/16 ratchet, and I took the clamps off both sides. There's two clamps, top and bottom, top and bottom. This pipe is for a backup pump, so that's why I have two pipes coming out of this pump. So there's actually two sump pumps in here. There's a regular sump pump that's powered by a 120 volt, and then there's another battery powered one in case the power goes out or in case something fails. So I took those off. There's going to be a lot of water in the line. I already emptied these, so I'm going to pop these off right now. I drained the water out of them with a bucket and a towel, and we'll see if they are defective or if they're working good. So we're going to test these valves. They're called check valves. It says flow on here. Okay, so this is the way they normally face, upwards, because the water comes out. What it does is there's a little mechanism in there that allows the water to only go one way and not come back down. So if I fill these up with water, the hope is that they will hold water. And I can see this one's coming out just a little bit, a couple drops. Not too bad. All right, probably gonna replace that one. This one you can see is really bad, so that tells me that that check valve is definitely needing replacing. Okay. So this is the old motor, and I didn't know what horsepower this motor was. It had a little metal plate here. I had to use a little bit of CLR and kind of clean it up, but this ended up being a 3rd horsepower motor, and you always want to stay the same or upgrade. So I'm actually upgrading to this half power motor, which if you look at both of them, the new half power one is a lot smaller, which will fit in there a lot nicer. Okay. This new sump pump was around 200 bucks, a little less. So we're gonna change it over. You can see we have the copper pipe right now. We're gonna change it over to PVC. It's just gonna be easier to work with, and it's gonna be just as good. So I bought a piece of 4-foot, 1.5 inch PVC. This is schedule 40, rated for pressure. I also have a 1.5 inch male to female connector, again rated for pressure. There's a difference. We're gonna attach these by using a cleaner and then a cement. So the cleaner comes in a little brush, just kind of clean the inside. I went a little heavy there. Let it dry, and then we clean the outside and let that dry. Give it a couple seconds. Been about 10 seconds. It's already dry. We're gonna take the PVC cement. I'm gonna put a little bit around this end, a little bit on the inside here, and we just push them together. Went a little heavy on the glue here, so you can wipe that up. Paper towel, and just let it sit for 30 seconds, a minute, and you'll be good. So I've installed my PVC pipe into my new pump, and we probably want it right at the same height as the old ones. I'm going to put them next to each other and mark it. Now I'm not going to cut it just yet, but I want an idea of about where I'm going to be. Okay, I did a little test fit. I put the pump into the pit and I lined it up with my other pipes, and yes, this mark looked good. Now I want to cut this horizontally because I don't want the shavings from this to fall down the pipe into my sump pump and maybe jam it up. So I'm going to do it here, clean it off a little bit. I'm also going to take some electric tape, just take the cord so that it's up out of the way, just about a foot up. And I'll do this later too. I'll keep going up the pipe all the way to the outlet so that that cord is out of the way. I dropped it in. I dropped my new sump pump in. Here's the new line. I put the new check valves on there. Took some maneuvering, but I got the pipe fit in, so it's now just a matter of tightening up these hose clamps, and we'll test it out. Okay, we're ready to test. You can see it's got some water in there. We'll plug it in. It's draining out nicely. Make sure that it stops. There it goes. Check for leaks. That looks good. Alright, some finishing touches. I just taped up the pipe. I taped that wire up along the pipe to get it out of the way. And then I'll just use these screws that I pulled out earlier to secure down the lid. Okay, so I have the old pump out. Another option, since this pump was just constantly running on, is I could have installed what's called a mechanical float switch. So this is about 30 bucks instead of the $300 I spent to fix everything up the way I wanted it. But what this does is this plug would just plug into here, and then it would plug into the wall outlet, and then I would zip tie this float probably somewhere down here, and I'd have to test it a bunch of times to see where it raised. Okay, so as this float, okay, raises and tips upward, it turns the pump on, and then as it sinks back down, as the water level goes back down, that pump would turn off. So there's just a little switch inside here. I chose not to do this so that I could, I just run a new pump. I didn't want something, this pump will probably burn out. I don't know, maybe a year, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit less, who knows. I just want something more reliable in my basement than something that's about to burn out.